Okay, Carrie, so I can't see the specific questions you're having issues with, but I do know that, and I should be able to this afternoon, but I do know that you um, are having a little bit of issue with the figurative language and imagery quiz. So let's look at what I want to make sure you do. I want you to go back and click on the figurative language and, well, the introductory skills lecture. If you don't understand
Whenever we read, authors ask
the devices, like if you don't understand what each device is meaning, then the quiz questions are going to be a little more difficult. So this is just the basics of what the devices are and what they stand for, what you're looking at. So as you're reading a text, and let's say you're annotating or it's asking you a question, one of the quiz questions was about Carl Sandburg's Fog, the poem. And the question was asking where you saw figurative language or where you saw literary devices in which lines. Well, and we'll go back to that one. If you don't understand what the devices are, then you can't figure out which lines the devices are in. So I want you to go back to the introductory lesson, and go through and really make sure you understand. And we can go over this in a Zoom if you don't. So figurative language is just an umbrella term for any device or speech that is not supposed to be taken at its literal meaning. So if you have a tree, but the tree is supposed to signify someone's connection to their past, then that tree does not just mean the tree. That tree is it's a symbol. There's symbolism there. So the device symbolism is actually figurative language. It's language that is not meant to be taken at its face value. Okay, and then imagery. This is anytime vivid language is used, and you're going to see this probably in your text for the whole entire course, that appeals to your senses: smell, touch, taste, all of the senses. Then sight, taste, touch, smell, sound. They have it listed for you. She goes through several more. Metaphor, which is also figurative language. Metaphors and similes. They are comparisons. Here's fog. She goes over with you. The fog comes on little cat feet. It sits looking over harbor. Well, this is a metaphor because it doesn't say the fog comes like little cat feet. It says the fog comes on little cat feet. It's one of the stronger comparisons because it's actually saying the fog is this instead of like this. But in the quiz, the question is asking which lines hold figurative language or devices. Yeah, and sometimes text can be more than one device because, yes, it's a metaphor, but it sits looking over harbor and city. Well, can the fog really look over harbor and city? No, but if you personify it and give it characteristics, human characteristics, or here it's almost like it's a cat. But also, this can also be personification because then down here it sits looking over harbor and city. Okay. Simile is similar to a metaphor. It's still a comparison. We usually say it's kind of a weaker comparison because you say it's like something else. If you see like or as, you can pretty much know that it is a simile. So just keep going through. Conceits. Conceits they're getting to a little bit higher level devices. Conceit, metonymy. A conceit is still a metaphor, but you're just looking at usually a longer metaphor. Sometimes we call them extended metaphor. Like the entire poem or the entire text is a metaphor, then we call that a conceit. The poem Mother to Son, they're talking about a crystal stair. The entire poem is about a crystal stair, but the crystal stair is he's not really talking about a staircase. It's talking about the troubles and the issues and the defeats of life that his mother has gone through, that she's using it as an example for her son. Okay, so I want you to go back and go through this entire introduction. Then when you go into, you can also go to the skills lecture. She is going to go into a little bit more detail.
Speaking metaphorically.
And now once you've known from the introduction and you know what the devices are, make sure, take notes, write down some vocabulary that comes up. Once you understand and know the devices, then she can go into really explaining them within the text. And she goes into a little bit more, like with metonymy and stuff like that. Then you are going to go into the quizzes, but I just wanted to look at a couple of them. I'm not going to show all of them because on mine it comes up with the answers. So let's look. So fog. The fog comes on little cat feet. It sits looking over harbor and city on silent haunches and then moves on. So which of the following excerpts from the poem reflects the use of figurative language? And we said figurative language was any time you have language that means more than what it's saying on the page, than its actual word. So the fog comes on little cat feet. Does the fog actually come on little cat feet, or is it maybe it's using the metaphor of a cat to almost show how the fog moves and like it's kind of characteristics of a cat? So there's a metaphor, so that is figurative language. It sits looking over harbor and city. Well, does the fog actually sit and look over harbor and city, or does it just feel like it does through the personification of here and still the metaphor of the cat and the fog as the cat, but the fog does not literally sit and look over harbor and city, so that is still figurative language. On silent haunches and then moves on, like the haunches, the back legs of the cat. Sandberg is trying to personify or compare, try to get you to almost be able to see, which would be imagery, the cat, the fog sitting and then getting up and slinking off. Well, the fog is not actually sitting on its silent haunches. So all three of these, let's see if we are correct. Yes, 1, 2, and 3 are all examples of figurative language. Now, if you don't understand the elements of figurative language, then that's going to be, I don't know if this question you had issues with, but most of them are similar to this. They take the ideas that you were taught in the introductory and applied lessons, and then they ask you questions. So let me know if this helps. Go back, take notes, make sure you understand those devices. These are going to come up in later lessons, I'm sure, because when I teach this normal course, we look at, that's why they want you to know the devices up front, because this will come up over and over and over again. Okay, let me know if you have any more issues, or if this doesn't help and you have a specific question. You can send me a screenshot, or just let me know which issues you're having, which questions you're struggling with, and I can go back and either make another screenshot or we can Zoom conference about it. All right, Carrie, good luck.